So today, let's start with a number. How many units did you sell last month? Say it out loud. Say it out loud. I want you to be able to hear yourself. How many units did you sell last month? So whether it's one, whether it's 21, or somewhere in between, I got some news for you. That's just a number. It doesn't define you. It doesn't define who you are. It's a metric, a milestone. It's maybe a source of pride for you that you can carry around and go, look, I sold 40 cars last month. Or maybe it's a source of shame where you look at the board and you're like, what happened? 3 cars in a month. The month before I was doing so well. What went down? Listen, this is Auto Nerd. Today, we're going to throw a wrench into one of the biggest beliefs that apparently your commission check is your identity. And I got a funny thing here to tell you. It's not. And we can continue to emotionally beat the living snot out of ourselves day in and day out when it comes to our paychecks and lack of sales. Or we can get up and we can fix the problem. And so we're going to go deep into this ancient philosophy about emotional truths and the kind of mindset that separates people from the closers and the legends. Because as you know in my book, there's no such thing as closing if you've done your job right. The legends out there are the ones that are pulling in the highest marks on their surveys, and their customers are more than willing to simply go ahead and buy the car. Because when it comes down to it, this is more than selling. This is about reclaiming yourself on that scoreboard at the end of the month and looking at everybody else that looked at you and said, haha, you didn't do great that month. And looking at the scoreboard and you going, that's nice, and acting like it didn't even matter when you're number one. Let's dive in. In most dealerships, you can feel it in the air. The leadership board on the wall is just beckoning to have you go on over and take a close look at it. It's not just there for decoration, it's a silent judge. It allows every other sales consultant to pit themselves against each other. Now, I'm not saying I'm against the sales board, but what I am saying is that every name, every number, every little inch that you go ahead and see that somebody else is ahead of you is enough to go ahead and drive you insane. I mean, you hear it in the greetings, right? How many you got out? Damn, Jerry, you're already up to 8. It's the 4th of the month. What'd you do? Sandbag 6 from the previous? Better get one today or the desk won't even look at you, right? Or take you seriously. And it starts to seep into your bones. Every phone call, every test drive, every direction, and it feels like a reflection of you. But let me say this loud and clear. Your number is not your name. You're more than that monthly average. You're not just a closer. You're a connection creator, right? You're a translator of trust. You're a builder of moments. You're somebody that ushers in an experience for individuals that's entirely different from anybody else. If you have a crappy month, don't beat yourself up. It's time to reset. So, yeah, let's talk about the trap. Yes, money matters. That's why we do this. Let's get that out of the way, right? Let's not pretend it doesn't exist. We're selling cars and getting the points on the board and getting those gross profits up is something that each and every one of us works our butt off to make sure that we can get as high up on that board as possible, right? That notoriety does feel good and it does mean something in that respect. Let's talk about the trap. Yes, money matters. We all know that. We need it. We got into this business because of the money, and we were all dangled the same carrot of, hey, you can make $100,000 in your first year. We've all been there. We've heard it. We've even maybe some of us have even said it. So we're not going to pretend that money isn't a big deal here, but there is a moment when commission turns into confusion for us, especially when you're new. And especially if you're somebody that's been in this business forever and you've had a bad multi-month streak, you really start to beat yourself up pretty good. You see, this whole leadership board, this whole commission type thing is meant to reward the closers that are out there. It's not meant to reward the growers. It's meant to ignore the growers. It's meant to ignore the people that might be in that, let's say, 5 to 7 car area and reward the people at the top that are moving the metal. And listen, I understand if you're an owner and you bought all these vehicles in this inventory, you want that stuff gone, and I don't blame you. But at the same time, I would want it gone with some pretty big profit behind it. And this is where the growers come on in. This is where the growers really shine. You see, if you have a person on your showroom floor that isn't just closing deal, closing deal, closing deal, closing deal, but all of a sudden you notice that instead of 20 cars a month, they seem to be selling like 9 on average. Get with that person. Hey, what are you doing? Right? Because I went ahead and take a look, and you'd be kind of surprised if you're not controlling as a manager the profits on those deals. Well, first off, start controlling it, but start running the averages and see what the people that are selling in the mid range do for gross profit and what the people on the other end are doing. And a lot of times you'll find that the whole thing about how many cars you actually move is kind of irrelevant. Now, yes, if I was desking deals, I would absolutely be tracking that because I want to know who's actually producing something, who's not. But really, it shouldn't be for the whole world to see, should it? So, for any of you dealerships out there that have the sales board right on the showroom floor, come on, let's be a little bit more sensitive to our sales consultants. I mean, it's not cool, right? But this confusion leads us to say things to ourselves like, I had a bad month, therefore I am bad. And that's a human instinct to say things like that. It's a natural path to take, but it's not fair to you. Or I didn't sell today, therefore I'm lazy. Or my coworker outsold me, I must be falling behind because I'm not as good as them. Well, that's all relative, right? And again, it's back to this illusion, this trap that the industry's built for us to, again, reward closers and ignore the growers. But commission is just a byproduct. It's not a verdict. Commission, especially the first commission, is just the crack in the door for most customers. You see, the big truth bomb here is that when you look at the commission as a byproduct and not being the verdict, it means that your business hasn't stopped. You have a lot more ground to cover. Because usually when you take a look at that individual that is quickly selling cars. Now, I'm not picking on the person that's selling a large volume of cars a month, but quickly selling each deal, you'll find that their gross profits will suffer because again, the customer needs to make up the value proposition somewhere. And usually that turns into the customer making up the value proposition in negotiation, which is something that we want to avoid. Remember, people that are motivated to buy will simply go ahead and buy and nobody can tell them no, right? But it's the result of your effort. Yes, it's also a little bit of timing, it's a little bit of luck. Customer readiness is also one of those things, and even the weather can determine whether a customer is going to walk in that day or not. But don't let that number steal your narrative because the story that you write and the legacy that you leave behind don't include a sales board. So let's bring in some Roman Emperor Stoic heat to this. Marcus Aurelius. So he was quoted going ahead and writing, you have the power over your mind, not outside events, right? Realize this and you will find strength. And in dealership terms, this basically means that you can't control who walks through that door, but you can control how you show up when they do. And again, this goes back to what I've said many times over. Resetting and figuring out how to do it is one of the most important things that you can possibly do. Getting out of your own headspace, especially the crappy headspace that just takes you down like the bone anchor that you never actually bought. But by going ahead and finding ways to reset and realizing that everybody's different, gives you the ability to realize that the customer never changes because they're always different. And if the customer never changes, that means that we can consistently work on our behavior to become better every single time. If it's a different customer every time, they don't know what happened previously. So keep working on yourself, and all of a sudden, whoever walks through that door, you're going to be prepared. Now, Seneca went ahead and had some words that go along with this as well. And Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And that's something that we do all the time. When we're talking about these sales numbers, when we're talking about next month's numbers, it's great to have goals. But in your head, if you don't hit those goals, what are you doing to yourself? Why are you ripping yourself to shreds? Don't do it. I mean, yeah, a bad month's a bad month, and we all have them. But it's about going ahead and resetting and coming back out even far stronger than you went in, right? I learned some things that month. It was a crap month, but you know what? I came out. So that anxiety when you're behind on the board, half of it is a story you're telling yourself. The other half is just garbage you're picking up from somebody else. So another one from our own wheelhouse here, our friend, our buddy, Mr. Dale Carnegie. The successful man will profit from his mistakes and try again in a different way. Success isn't the absence of slow months, it's the resilience to keep showing up during them. Dale Carnegie, the guy was a genius. If you haven't read any of his books, I would highly recommend going out and doing it. If you don't know how to listen, he's definitely the go-to source for it. You see, when it comes down to your mistakes, getting back up and trying again is what we have to do. It's not an option. You can go ahead and say, well, I failed today, and sit on your couch for 3 weeks and not do a damn thing. But the thing is that's the boat anchor. It's weighing you down, and you're allowing it to. If you simply allow it to, nothing's going to work. Now I understand that some of us out there might, be in some area of depression or some area of anxiety of going back into work and dealing with it. And when you have to deal with a lot of people in high stress situations, anxiety and depression don't always help. But again, they're just kind of like those things on your shoulders that are like, no, you're bad, pushing you down. If you can, throw them to the side. Okay, get your reset on and get yourself in a good headspace. Because when I see things like from Dale Carnegie saying, the successful man can profit from his mistakes and try again in a different way, he's correct. If it didn't work with the past 3 customers, stop doing it. Recognize what it was. Look at that crappy month that you may have just had or a couple months ago, or the one that you may be having now, and really sit down and think, hey, what am I doing here that is putting myself in this super crappy situation that I'm kind of not being able to dig myself out of? I can tell you right now, it's not the customer. I mean, seriously, how many customers are going to come on in, look at you, and say the same thing that the last one did? Because a couple months ago, you probably killed it. This month, it's not the customer. I swear. So if you're sitting at 2 units right now, don't panic. Right? Just reflect, adjust, keep breathing, keep going. It's okay. Resilience is something that you will build over time. And again, if you're one of the individuals that just doesn't want to get off the couch, don't succumb to it. Just get up and crush it. And just know that you can. Why is this a big topic? And why is a trainer out there going ahead and saying, hey, the number of cars on the board doesn't matter? Because here's why. The number of cars on the board is a metric that you will see every single day that will force you and others to judge yourself and them. But attaching that to your identity, attaching your paycheck to your identity, causes some pretty crappy things with us very quickly. The first one is this: burnout. I had it happen over and over and over again. When it came down to burnout, yeah, I'd sit at my desk, I'd go down to the nearest fast food place, I'd buy my lunch there every single day, and I just sat around. It hurts. It sucks. But when burnout hits, this is when you have to reset. Go do something that's gonna be fun. Desperation will also set it, and this is where things like transparency and honesty have to be worked on. You just got to take a step back and go, hey, listen, when it comes down to desperation, I can't be desperate. The customers pick up on that, right? That anxious energy that you put out, people don't want to be around that, right? Then toxic competition. Yeah, I know. You got the guy on the showroom floor. He just keeps running his mouth left, right, and center. He just won't shut the hell up and keeps going on about, well, I'm better than everybody. Whatever, man. You know what? When you go home at night and you're sitting there with nobody around you, you may want to actually ask yourself why. I'm just saying. If you got the high marks on the board and you got a great life, good. You figured it out. Thank you. But if you got that toxic competition that isn't willing to help you, stay away from them. Move your desk over to the other side of the showroom floor. Just stay away from them. If they're not worth it, they're not worth it. If they're not contributing anything to your life in a positive way, then move on. Why do you need to go ahead and hang out with people that are like that? And worst of all, emotional detachment, right? You stop caring about people and start caring only about the numbers. This is when it really starts to suck for you. Because if you start putting that commission before the customer, it all falls apart. You start pushing deals that don't make sense. You start looking at the customer with fake smiles, and you're not yourself. You shortcut the experience, and then you lose your why. You lose who you are. And you'll notice, and many sales consultants have these stories if you ask them, is that if you talk to somebody that's been in this business a long time and ask them, hey, when were your favorite weeks? They will all usually say the first few. And the reason is that we didn't know the business. We didn't know how this worked. And so all we did is we had fun and we went and just talked to people because all we knew was that you needed to make a connection. And then once that connection was made, all you had to do was follow through with it. But when you start to go ahead and make the identity your numbers, this spiral kicks in. You get less connection, you receive fewer sales, you start applying more pressure, and your performance drops because people don't want to be around you. So this is how good people become bitter veterans in this business, is that they forget that sales is service. It's not survival. If you turn it into survival, it tends to all fall apart because if you put yourself in survival mode, in panic mode, first off, you're going to be very agitated. Again, nobody was going to want to be around you. But also, you will shortcut everything to make sure that you can get the pennies that are on the other end. So don't be in panic mode. If you're going to be in that mode, you need to do something a little bit different. So let's flip the script. Instead of chasing commission, what if we chased impact? What if the goal was to be the most trusted on the showroom floor, or the one that is asked for by name, or the reason that the customer drove an hour and a half just to see you? That's the long game, right? That's the legend arc here. So attempt for little goals like this. Establish a relationship with your customer and deliver an experience that is so BA awesome that when it comes down to it, they're going to invite you to their wedding, right? Instead of ghosting you like after finance when they couldn't find a cosigner. You want people to appreciate you for who they are. The people that are appreciated in this world, these are the people that will go and move the world for you. So imagine you're at a retirement party. There's cake, there's bad coffee, maybe someone from sales or, service wants to say a couple words. And then you ask yourself this, what do you want them to say about you? He crushed it every month. Cool, nice. You crush it every month. What does that say about who you were? All it says is how many cars you sold. So how about something that's actually meaningful? Like he made everybody on the showroom floor better. Or, customers trusted her with their kids, right? Things like this, or, she showed up even when she had nothing to gain out of this, right? That's legacy, that's meaning, and it's worth a hell of a lot more than a plaque from a manufacturer that says, congratulations, you've been here for 30 years. All that says is that you've been in the same spot for 30 years. When it comes to the things that matter in life, that's helping people, that's delivering kindness, that's making people know that you are worth a damn. How about we armor up? Here's how we're going to stay grounded in all of this crazy chaos. Try some form of daily reflection. Ask yourself, did I serve well today? Did I do something of value that will give me a couple extra points to level up, right, in somebody else's eyes? Maybe more of an effort-based goal is how you drive your life, right? Instead of, maybe I'll sell 3 today and pull a hat trick, try something along the lines of this. Maybe I'll follow up with 10 people and give 5, unforgettable demo drives, a call back and see what they say. They might just be waiting for somebody to say hi. And if you're the one with the best experience, they might just be embarrassed to come back on in. Just give them a ring. Or how's this one? Write down 5 things that make you proud outside of sales and keep them close. All this is a revenue generator and a networking system for you. And as soon as you realize that, the whole game starts to have this ripple effect, and it changes. Or maybe you're more of an affirmation person, right? Then say it with me now. I am not my commission. I am my character. I am not my commission. I am my character. Whatever that character may be the best version of it. You're allowed to have a couple bad days. Heck, you're allowed to have a bad week here and there. It happens. But the universe doesn't revoke you from humanity simply because you didn't sell that SUV. The sun is still shining. The sky is still blue usually. The grass, well, in parts of the country, it's not really growing yet, but it's still green underneath all that snow. But if you want a new performance metric, Try this one. Compassion per interaction. How much patience did you show today? Did you slow down enough to listen? Did you explain the leasing numbers with honesty or just speed through to get to the close? Because that stuff, it brings in referrals, it brings in reviews, and it allows you to be prideful of what you do day in and day out. Even if the deal doesn't land, you can still walk away clean from this stuff. So do what you have to. Just don't turn into that poisoned sales consultant down the road that just keeps getting slaughtered and slaughtered and slaughtered because you want to ignore the emotional side of it. It plays a big role in everything that we do. You have to keep yourself in a good headspace. So remember, you're not a commission slip. You're not a delivery count. You're not a ranking on a board. You're your own legacy. You're own your own kindness. You own your own consistency. Your ability to look someone in the eye and say, I hear you, I see you, I got you, is really what most people want to hear when they walk through the front door. That's the stuff that will move you from a closer to a legend. Because legends are the people where other people want to help you, where other people want to come back again and again and again. And that's why you'll still be standing there long after all the others that have picked on you have burned out. So if this episode hit you in the gut, good. It was meant to. It was meant to just kind of bring us back to center. Every so often we need that. Right? Share it with someone that might need this reminder as well. Maybe replay it next time you feel a little discouraged, or, maybe tattoo it on the inside of your soul. So every time you feel a little down and you get to the bottom, you see me standing there going, yo, pick yourself back up. This crappy attitude just ain't worth it. So this is Auto Nerd, and I'll say this one last time. You are not your commission slip. Now go out there forward with kindness and leave a trail of better human beings behind you, because I know you have it in you. Go out there, sell, and make people happy. Be the difference in your own legacy. Talk to you next week.